All right, we're good now. All right, so like I said, Kenneth Grunfelder, baseball podcast here. And yeah, so before I get into what we're going to talk about for today, I just want to remind you guys, as always, to tip or donate and get your comments recognized, make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And as always, it is displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. So with that being said, let's get right into what we are going to talk about for today. So we're going to start off the show. We're going to talk about the latest news and headlines around the league. There were some signings and some trades that happened since the last time I did the GSMC baseball podcast show. So we'll talk about that. Then in the second part of the show, we'll go through like the latest hot stove rumors. What's going on with certain people? Will they be traded? Where certain guys can go? The interest that some teams may have in particular players. So we'll get into that. Then in the third part of the show, I want to talk about a move that the Yankees made, and that was signing Marcus Stroman to a 2-year contract. So we'll get into that just because, well, not because it's my team that did this, but it's just because of the history between the two sides and why it was just kind of an interesting move that was made. And then in the final part of the show, we're going to talk about the win total odds for each team. There was an article I was looking at on the New York Post that had the estimated win totals, the over-unders. So we'll go through each of them, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I think. So yeah, that's basically the rundown for the show today. Again, I apologize for the camera issues again. So let's get right into the first topic, which is talking about the latest news and headlines. So there were some moves that were made since we last spoke. I did some shorts on them, obviously, throughout the week. But yeah, let's kind of go through what happened since we last spoke. So actually, this was after I recorded the podcast, but the Giants acquired Robbie Ray from the Mariners in exchange for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. Robbie Ray was a former Cy Young winner. He won the Cy Young back in 2021. Had a solid season for the Blue Jays, and then the Mariners got him, and wasn't quite the same pitcher that he was supposed to be. Yeah, so the Giants end up trading him. So his stats from 2021, very impressive. 13-7 in 32 games with a 2.84 ERA. In 2022, he went 12-12 with a 3.71 ERA. And obviously, we remember in the playoff series against the Astros, he gave up that home run to Yordan Alvarez, and it was a move that was widely criticized. And then last year, in one game, 0-1 with an 8.1 ERA. So the Giants, listen, the Giants are trying to make moves, and they bring him in. And listen, this would have been a good move a couple of years ago. I mean, could Robbie Ray come in and maybe, if he's healthy, be a solid starter? It's possible, but again, it's we'll have to wait and see. And then for the Mariners, who have kind of had a quiet offseason, which many people I think would be disappointed because you want to see this team take the next step. They acquire Anthony DeSclafani and Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger did play for the Mariners, so this will be a second stint there. So last year, in 19 games for DeSclafani, he went 4-8 with a 4.88 ERA, which is not very good. And then for Mitch Haniger, I don't think he was very good last year for the Giants. 209 batting average, 28 RBIs, 44 hits. But he comes back to Seattle. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening there. He was an All-Star back in 2018. 26 home runs, 93 RBIs. In 2021, 39 home runs to 100 RBIs. So he had a productive season there. But yeah, last year, 6 home runs, 28 RBIs, 209 batting average, 266 on base percentage, 365 slugging, 631 OPS. So yeah, his numbers have kind of dipped the last couple of years. So, we'll see what ends up happening there with him now coming back to Seattle. But yeah, Seattle's kind of had like I said, a disappointing offseason. But yeah, so that was one of the trades that happened. Another trade, the Rays actually, the Mariners acquired Luke Raley from the Rays in exchange for infielder Jose Caballero. We'll actually take a look at Luke Raley's stats from last year. But yeah, I mean, nothing too flashy by the Mariners here. So last year with the Rays, 118 games with the Rays, Raley had 19 home runs to 49 RBIs, 249 batting average, 333 on base percentage, 490 slugging, 824 OPS. So it provides some pop for the Mariners. So we'll see how that trade ends up working out for them. Also, actually, a quick thing from the trades and signings. Michael Brantley actually announced his retirement. And he was one of the more consistent players. Dealt with some injuries over the course of his career, but was a solid player. Obviously was a World Series champ with the Astros, 5-time All-Star. I honestly didn't expect it, but he was somebody that I actually wanted the Yankees to get a couple of years ago when he was available as a free agent. But congrats on the retirement, and so that was something interesting that came out of last week. But so then some of the other moves that were made. Actually, here's Brantley's total stats here. So 298 batting average, 117 OPS plus, over 1,600 hits, 129 home runs, 348 doubles, 5-time All-Star, 15 seasons between the Astros and the Guardians. So, but yeah, congrats on the retirement to Michael Brantley. So, back to the offseason moves here. So the Mets actually signed Sean Manaea to a 2-year contract. Pitched with the Giants. And, he's had some good years. But, I like the Mariners, the Mets really haven't had a flashy offseason. They've made more moves than the Mariners. Nothing, that jumps out at you. But, so in 37 games last year with the Giants, he went 7-6 with a 4.44 ERA. The Mets, again, they're looking for pitching depth. So you would hope, as a Met fan, this move helps them out. So that was another move. This I thought was a good move, even though it's to the team that's, won the offseason, but many baseball fans aren't happy with them, and that's the Dodgers. So they signed Teoscar Hernandez to a 1-year deal. And Teoscar's a good player. He's got power. And, the Dodgers, they were looking to add another outfielder. And, they bring in Teoscar Hernandez to go along with that loaded lineup. And his stats for last year, in his one and only season with the Mariners, 26 home runs, 93 RBIs, 258 batting average, 305 on base percentage, 435 slugging, a 741 OPS. He was productive for them, but, his best year was when he was an All-Star back in 2021 with the Blue Jays, 32 home runs, 116 RBIs, 296 batting average, 346 on base percentage, 524 slugging, 870 OPS. That was his best season. He's a couple years removed from that now. Played in 160 games last year for the Mariners, which is impressive. And to put him now in that lineup with what they have with Ohtani and Betts and Freeman, it's just another bat to end. Muncy, you're just adding more to that. So I thought that was a good move for the Dodgers, but obviously people aren't happy because now he's on the Dodgers and they're just completely loaded, from top to bottom. There's that. Also, Shota Imanaga, actually, he signed with the Cubs as well. That was the other Japanese pitcher that we were waiting on to sign, and we'll get the contract details right now, actually. So he signed. What did he sign? He signed a. I think it was a. I think was it a 4-year deal? Obviously, the Cubs, they're trying to get themselves geared up for 2024. They're trying to make some moves for some of the other big free agents that are out there. So yeah, it was a. Oh, I thought this would show like what the contract was, but I think it was like a 4-year deal. But his stats, he's got a career 2.96 career ERA in Japan, and last year posted a 2.66 ERA. So, we'll see how it translates, to the majors. But the Cubs, they had another starter, so let's see what ends up happening there. Also, the Cubs, they traded for the number 44 overall prospect and Michael Busch from the Dodgers. So we'll see how that plays out. So the Cubs are making moves. Also, arbitration deals were being made. The Mets agreed to one with Pete Alonso. The Yankees agreed to a record-breaking one with Juan Soto. There was a bunch of players agreeing to deals. The Yankees also brought back Luke Weaver, who made some starts for them last year. And then also I wanted to talk about MLB, the schedule, because the primetime game schedule came out. So I wanted to touch upon that briefly before we go to break. There was some other stuff I actually wanted to talk about too in this segment, but we're kind of running out of time here. So this is just that's a Sunday Night Baseball schedule. But like there was like the big games. You had the Dodgers and the Yankees, on the Saturday on Fox. Well, the Sunday Night Baseball schedule is March 31st. You got Cardinals, Dodgers. April 7th is Astros, Rangers. April 14th, Padres, Dodgers. April 21st is Rangers, Braves. April 28th is the Cubs and the Red Sox. May 26th is the Cubs and the Cardinals. June 9th is the Dodgers and the Yankees. June 16th is the Yankees and the Red Sox. And then the Little League Classic is the Yankees and the Tigers. So, and then for Fox, you have, the first weekend is, the Phillies and the Braves, Yankees, Astros, Giants, Padres. So those are some of the big games. Yankees, Dodgers as well during the year. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it when talking about the latest news and headlines. There was some other stuff I wanted to get to, but we kind of ran. I could probably go through some of it in the next segment. So when we get back from our first break of the show, we'll talk about the latest hot stove rumors, and I'll give you my thoughts on what could possibly be happening in the coming days, in the coming weeks. So stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast.